Welcome to day 22. Word by word. So bringing attention to every single word. This has changed my life. And this has all been helped by my mum and dad, both times. So as you know, I'm a big fan of words. And I'm very particular with the words that come out my mouth. Simplify life down to a choice, the negative or the positive. My philosophy in life. If I only choose to speak positive words, I can only be a positive person. It takes people a while to grasp that concept. I know you can still be negative. Okay, let's bring awareness to our words. And what comes before the words? A thought. So if we work on the reverse order, words first, choosing in a conscious state to replace the negative with the positive. We find a solution. So the English language is so magical that every word, there is an opposite. There's a duality, which leaves a choice. And if we simplify it back then down to ego or soul, if we look at those words and we was to put them under a category, you'd be able to put the negative under ego and the positive under soul. Negative words always take us back in the past. From the present moment, we look back to describe the past. The negative word stops our flow in the present moment. And the positive words brings us to this moment and keeps it open for future. Flow. Keeping it open. So this all comes down to awareness and really fine-tuning in, because quite quickly you will see every day there'll be slight adjustments. Initially, you'll start to realize that there are many words that we choose to speak that are negative, that are restrictive. And this has all come from my mum and dad, and I'm forever grateful for them. And I never thought I'd be finding a talent like this, because it is a talent for the human race when you become aware of words. And because you get that choice, it's empowering. And every day, progress equals success. You're progressing on your life, so you're succeeding in life. So let's go back to the first occasion. The words that I choose to speak, which reflects the words that I choose to write. And this is not instructing you how to speak. This is bringing awareness to the negative versus the positive. This is bringing awareness back even more fine-tuned is the energy. Because our words describe our feelings, and when we're unconscious, many of the words that we automatically choose to speak, there's a mismatch with our feelings. A mismatch, dis-ease, resistance, a clash, body and mind and body. The body knows the truth. And when we lie, because the soul is so pure, the body reacts in a subtle way. Some people are good liars, unconscious liars. Yet there's still that subtle reminder that you're lying. Always will let you know. And a lie leads to another lie. Negative, more negative. And then we get caught in the lie. Stress, anxiety, pressure. So I've been in the fitness industry for around 16 or so years. And a lot of my work was practical, always on my feet. Always on my feet. And recording videos in the fitness industry is a big thing nowadays. When I started, social media was just getting ignited. Twitter had just come out. Instagram wasn't even here. So it was a while ago. And all the videos back then were all the cheesy infomercials. And when I first started my company, I had a gym in London. Somehow we started being influenced to make these videos. NLP guy comes in and says, you need to do videos. And it was the cheesiest of videos. Check this workout out. Almost like that without the accent. And at this time, very new to speaking, especially with a camera in front of my face. And I never enjoyed it at all. So for many years, I managed to get out of doing things like that. That was so far away from my truth, even back then. And eventually, I started doing videos. I had a meniscus injury on my knee. And it put me out of a lot of opportunities. You realize how important your body is when it does break down. The breakdown from the mind. The body's always trying to repair. So my videos initially were my recovery from for the injury that I had. And quite quickly they were being received very well. Yeah, I remember it was so much effort. Stop, start, stutter, forget my lines. And then it'd be edit, snip, replay back. A 2-minute video, 3-4 hours. And this was back then. And eventually I started getting more confident. Eventually I thought I started getting good. And it was very rare for me to do a whole video that flowed all the way through. I had to stop at some points and I had to then glue the videos together. And there was one day before Christmas, I did a video as a summary of my year. And I believe it was around 12 or so minutes. And I remember getting to the end of it and I'm like, yes, 12 minutes. Like, that was good. And I sent it to my mum and dad. I said, I'm getting better at speaking. Have a watch of this one, see what you think of my year. And then my mum come back, went, oh, you say the word all the time. All the time. I'm like, you haven't even watched my video. Why are you bringing up that? That touched a nerve. That was a soul slap. That was a soul poke. I say all the time. So I watched it back. I said after every sentence. And I wasn't made aware of that. Didn't have a clue about that. And I was speaking all the time. And it was something that I did not enjoy seeing. It was uncomfortable. It was cringe. And then quite quickly after that, I started becoming aware of and I had to stop the video to start again. Now, if you hear me speak, rarely does come out my mouth. Rarely. And you know now when it does, because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking. Is a way that we can create just a little more time to find the right words. Yes, the mind. Sometimes we may get stuck or put on the spot. It's so interesting to bring awareness to. Remember, no judgment. Yet we know they're in the mind. So I know when people are speaking the words, there is an unconscious pattern there somewhere. With what they are speaking, maybe the full truth. Yet the messenger and the full process equals a truth. So something and somewhere down that line, there is ego, unconscious traits. So bring awareness to your words. And then we have the fill-in words. You know, right? Like, but. All of these words are fill-ins. And then my dad, when I was younger, used to show me footballers on the TV with interviews. He said, look how much they say you know. You know, after everyone, you know. Right. What are those words? So fill in the gaps, you know. You pull it in, you're trying to get approval. Right. We're aiming to get the other people to agree with us. It's an unconscious trait. Ego pulls in the ego. And as soon as I become aware of that, it started transforming into the words that I spoke in my everyday conversations. Because if we was to translate our words and put them on the paper and have but, like, you know, right, all in there too, it would not make any sense. In fact, it'd be quite confusing. Why have you stuck a but in there? Why have you keep saying like there? And it becomes so interesting. So if we look at every moment as now, and if we take the away time and the nows, flow. So when we speak our words, energy, those words keep us in flow. So, but, you know, like, cuts our flow. Because there's always mind that gets back in the way. Flow is from the soul, from the feelings, and inside the body, flow is from the heart. And the awareness is the thing that changes this. It is the key. And now, I'm watching everyone, listening out. Because as a coach, it gives me a route in. It allows me to bring awareness of focus. And we need awareness in our lives. Initially, the ego will get involved. There'll be annoyance. There'll be frustration. There'll be confusion. I can't speak properly. I've got a problem. You wonder what words you can start to use. Yet stick with it. Because that awareness turns into automation. And as you go on this journey, you will correct yourself, you will catch yourself, and then you will notice and be proud of yourself that it flowed. So that was the first one, bringing awareness to the words that I spoke. And the key part to that was watching it back. And this is why I love the era of technology that we have at our use now. Never been able to do this in any other lifetime, is to watch ourselves back as the observer. Because we are the observer in our life, we're not actually now inside the body. And one of my best things for coaching clients for instant changes is encouraging my clients to watch their self back within the sessions. It's the best form of teaching. When we go for mastery of ourselves, you have to look back and analyze yourself. And in that process, you get to look at your body language, your energy, certain moments within the conversation, the triggers, and watching yourself within those moments. The fidgeting, the shuffling, the hand taps. There's so much we can learn about ourselves just visually being the witness. And many times we do not like what we see, so we choose to stay away. However, we do not know what we are meant to see without looking. And as soon as we bring awareness to that, we now have a choice. It's only the ego that will choose to speak those words or choose to perform those actions. The soul, we work it every day. Every day we show up, new day. And then my real understanding for words come a few years later on. And I was creating my website. And my dad has always been big on punctuation, always correcting me. And when I completed my website copy, I sent it to them. And I said, will you have a look at it? And they said, well, we'll go through it with you. And we went through literally word by word. And at each word, we had a choice and we could change it. And I realized, and it hit me so hard then, I used a lot of negative words. And going word by word, because normally I'd rush through these things, want to get it done, on to the next task. Yet it was the word by word which was the insight. Because when we got to that word, I was like, I do not like that one. I choose not to have that one. Let's replace it. What's the opposite? That was the question. What's the opposite? And we'd find it. And it always read so much better, so much more powerful, so much more engaging. Because it's the truth. Every negative situation, we can also change the words we choose to use. From the aggressive to the softer. From the hate to dislike. From the hard times to the challenges. It then allowed me to bring awareness to every word. And this has showed me then the English language. We have multiple words that have similar meanings. And we get a choice to describe our experience, our history, by bringing awareness to the use of words. And this is why the English language is so magical. It does truly give us free will. Words cannot fully describe our experience. And quite often, it's challenging to put our experiences into words. And if we only had a limited amount of descriptions, it would be very hard to connect with others. So this is why I love meditation. Now, when I try to put things into words, from a feeling there is one or the other. Love and anything that's not love. Yet love can be described in many meanings. Inside the body now, love is peace. And often, we wouldn't associate love with peace. Yet if we look at it from the three-part being, peace is love for the body. That's love from the body. Calmness, stillness, This is all love. So what is love? God, soul, flow, healing. In every word that we speak, we have the choice to our soul. And when we get to the stage where there's no thought, it's automated, that's downloaded in the body. So it made me become so much more aware of the words that I chose to speak. And now the next phase to it is improving my vocabulary and my pronunciation of words, but yet that's still a long way to go. That's work in progress. And I love this part to my life now, because in every given moment when there is the use of words, there is a deeper level of awareness, which means I'm fully much more present. I'm so much more engaged. I take ownership of myself. And in those moments, I now catch myself, rephrase my words, and then put out a truth, adaptable truth. Change. And I love being aware of my words, especially writing now, because you'll see the automation take place. Emails are a great thing. Nice to hear from you. We're lying with our words. How do you hear the words? Remember, it's the age of technology. Before that, when someone says hello, nice to hear from you, I'm listening to them. I'm in person, I'm on the phone. Now, nice to hear from you, so I change it. Not a big deal at all. Remember, this is my awareness. Yeah, it's empowering when you find an alternative word. Change the structure of your sentence. Find a different approach. Always adapting. And in that awareness, with that change, is there a confirmation from the soul? So now when I'm writing, I know when anyone else has impersonated, has abbreviated, has assumed my words when they use apostrophes. Can't, don't, won't, you're. I still speak them, so I'm working on that. However, using apostrophes brings us present and continues it forwards. Yet the apostrophes are talking about our past. I can't sleep. From this moment, I'm telling my body I can't sleep. I used to struggle sleeping. I always had challenges sleeping, which then allows you to add to that conversation, to keep the flow. We always have a choice to keep us in flow. And it's that dot, which is like the final confirmation. That's the truth that goes out. It's like as a judge, and they hit it, dot, final. So now, when people are speaking with me, I can say, when did I say those words? Please show me that. And they're unable to do it. I also am aware of my then imprint, my awareness. And it's quite cool. By bringing awareness to the words, you're always steps ahead. Always. And when you're aware of yourself, the more awareness, the self-observation, then you become so much more awareness of the outside world and the others. And because it's removed or lessened from your life, when it does come in, we know then when things are not a truth. We hear the cursing. We hear the negativity. We can read the aggression. We can interpret the words to energy. Because if we were present, we would choose the positive word. Because if that's how we're feeling, we would describe it as that. And sometimes we can misinterpret people's words. However, you can still connect feelings to them. And because most of us are unconscious, there's similar patterns, similar traits, similar groups of people. The labels that they identify themselves with is so interesting, because words are learnt from someone else, man. And as we start our development with the words, it all just flows out, the regular words. Yet it's only when we speak our truth without the automation that we are in flow. And quite quickly, you will see a series of words together that people say without even thinking, and they're instinctive words. As an example, I was living with a lady, and she had used the words, when something happened, bada bing, bada boom. And it was continuous. And what I noticed, it was being said more so when I didn't know what else to say, when there was uncomfort, when there was a silence. Automation. And we use the words to get out of facing the truth. So bring awareness to sayings. There's certain things that we say without even any thinking. Certain things that are attached to our identity, that we do put in our story. Repeat it. Repeat is the past. And in this world, all we have is change. So to re-describe the past, we have a choice to adapt the words that we choose to speak. And with those words are attached to feelings. When we're unconscious, those words already have the feelings and the meaning. So bringing awareness to the words can change the feelings inside our body. Powerful. So if we strip things like that, word by word. So now it's observation. And if we really want to take it to the next level, I will encourage you to start recording some conversations. Zoom calls, or even self-record them. Speak to the camera, speak about a topic, speak about an experience on here, keep it to yourself. Watch it back. Watch the uncomfort of doing it. Watch the way we try to change the way we speak just because there's a camera in front of us. We don't know where to look. And it's so interesting because every time there was a camera in front of me, pressure. I've got to speak a certain way. I've got to put my professional voice on. And I realized it was that trying to do it another way, which is where all the stutters and the mind come in. Now I speak my way. Yet if I'm speaking my truth and I want those words to be received with love, with understanding, I have to simplify my words. I have to be concise with my words. I have to be clear with my words. And my words have to connect with my story so it flows. And that energy, that's received. So if you're in a space of truth, I owe you. We're in that energy space together. So remember, energy first, words of the mind second. So if the words continue the flow, that becomes a more soulful space. And there's a soul connection. I got on with that person really well. They had good energy. They had a good energy because you was matching their energy. What you put out comes back. A conversation into us. We mirror energy. Body and mind mirror. Eyes for the soul at another is the same eyes looking back at our soul. Reflection. So using words, bringing awareness to the way that we speak, paying more attention to the words we choose when we write, and catch ourselves in unconscious moments. Challenge ourselves to add a slight adjustment. One word change can change the whole dynamic of a conversation. One word change can make what we're expressing more meaningful. One word change can go from the ego with that little reactive reply to a full truth from feelings, firm but true, with love. So would love to see what comes up for you here. And remember, every day is a new day. It's awareness. These small, subtle changes make giant rewards, from feelings, from healing, from happiness to health. Thank you, everyone.